This is my box. I made this a while back so Rebuilds could keep his most prized possession safely inside. What is Rebuild's most treasured item, you wonder with great interest? Well, let me build up some suspense. Could it be the red clown nose that Lunette wore in the big comfy couch, aka Allison Court, aka the voice of Claire Redfield? Or could it be a lock of Shinji Mikame's hair? With the suspense properly built, let's open up the chest. But we can't. Why, you scream? Well, this box can only be opened with a crank handle. And I did have one, but this happened. Yeah, it broke. So let's make a new one. If you've seen the last video, you know exactly what these pipes are and how much Rebuilds loves them. I'm going to be using this 3/4 inch pipe, or fat boy pipe for short. I measured out a 6 centimeter long segment and cut not one but 2 pieces of the pipe. These segments are nice, but we need to cut one side of them at an angle. And usually my hobby saw is great for it, but it's just too weird of an angle to cut safely. So I'm going to use this blade instead. Which means Rebuilds is going industrial by using this oscillator saw that Rebuilds stole out of his neighbor's garage. I always joke about my neighbor. I don't even have neighbors. The saw certainly gets the job done, but Rebuilds recommends you don't use it in a 6x6 closet as he did, because the sound will make your ears bleed. With the 2 pieces willing and waiting, we can add the next piece, which is just a finger snap away. Okay, the 3 pipes are cut to size and at the right angles, well, at the best angles that Rebuilds could muster. Let's glue them together, which means we gotta talk some glue. This is PVC piping cement glue. You're supposed to use this type of glue when you're using PVC piping when you're pretending to be a plumber. But I will not be doing that for a plethora of reasons that editing Rebuilds will throw up on screen. Instead, I'm using good old-fashioned hot glue because it will actually work, not like the crappy glue that you should avoid at all costs. I don't know why, but this pipe shape reminds me of the pipe puzzle from Dino Crisis, which is a game that every gamer has to play or they're fake gamers. For the handle I will be using wood, and I know, wild choice for a handle material, right? This is my container of wood scraps that I keep near my fireplace. For the handle I'm using these thread wheels things that are shockingly made out of wood. And if you're wanting to build this for yourself, then you're going to have to find these incredibly rare wood thread things, or the crank handle will be garbage. I've picked out my choice size thread wheels, or thingies, and now I'm gluing both together end to end. As for the very end of the handle, I wanted to use this wooden round thing that I haven't gotten a clue what it is or where I got it, but it looks good as part of the handle, so to take it from this to this, I spent about 2.5 light years sanding it until it looked like this. Okay, to ensure that this never happens again, I'm taking a stick with a Lego impaled on it and gluing it into one end of the pipe construction. This will add strength to the handle. With the handle done, let's move on to the business end of the crank. This is clear plasticard, or plexiglass. Don't know why it's called plexiglass when it's plastic. After doing a bunch of math and drawing a grid pattern, I sliced it up to the size that was required. Then I lightly scored the plastic with my knife so I could do this. Oh, that Rebuilds can be quite sneaky. I topped the sneaky box off with a perfectly cut square piece, and after a rich dose of superglue, the ugly box was done. As I did with the handle, I'm reinforcing the crank end, I guess, with the stick Lego duo. To finish it off, I added this plastic cap, making sure to stab the stick through it like a maniac. Finally, I added a 1/2-inch pipe segment over the stick and dumped a bucket of hot glue down its throat, just for good measure. Okay, just as Clark did in Christmas Vacation, let's put both pieces together. Alright, the crank handle is done, but though it is as strong as a real crank handle, it doesn't look like one, so let's fix that. Before we go on to painting, I'm going to rough up the handle a bit, because I'm going with a weathered, decrepit look like the one in the game. Okay, with that done, the painting can begin. Now, usually I would base coat the crank with a spray paint, but it was like minus 10 degrees outside during the time of me making it, so I went ahead and just base coated the whole thing, minus the handle, in a delicious rust brown. Then I took this beautiful metallic copper and painted over all the rust brown, even though I told myself not to do it because I wanted to retain some of the rust look. But you know, whatever, we'll bring the rust back later. As for the handle color, I chose green because it's Rebuild's favorite color. I went with a darker shade of green, knowing that I will be dry brushing a lighter green on later in the weathering stage. Now, if you wanted to make a fresh out of the factory crank handle, you would stop right here. I have to say, this copper/green color scheme is looking so sick. Rebuild's likey a lot. Unfortunately, I wanted a fresh out of Resident Evil game crank handle, so I'm taking this metallic silver and painting over about 85% of the copper, because in my mind the crank handle is metal with a thin coat of protective copper over it, and by applying silver to it, it implies that this crank has seen a lot of use and its protective coating is fading away, especially around the areas where it would encounter other surfaces, like the very end. Now for the handle, all I did was dry brush a light green on the darker green, and that worked pretty well to get the weathering look I wanted, so that's all I did. Okay, it's time for the coming of the rust. This is baking soda that personally I use for a lot of different things, but baking, surprisingly, is not one of them. I'm mixing up the soda with a really rusty brown to make this rust paste. It kinda looks like hot sauce. Of course it's not, but at least looks like it. And if Rebuilds was a practical joker, he would probably use this on somebody's hot dog in place of hot sauce. But of course, Rebuilds is not a joker, he's an ace. I'm applying this spicy rust in all the areas where rust could grow, and yes, I said grow, and in any unsightly gaps, like that one. Bonus points to this Sticky Icky for covering up all of Rebuild's mistakes. Okay, we're done. Roll the glamour shots. Hey there, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this Resident Evil build, even though it was an epic failure, as you'll see in a minute. Make sure you like and subscribe and all that good stuff. I hope you're having a great 2023 so far. Always remember, be kind and rewind, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Okay, Rebuilds has put it off long enough. Let's open this chest up. Oh no! Well, that's devastating. I guess I could just tell you what's in the treasure box.